She rose from still waters, cloaked in mist, holding a sword that would decide the fate of kings. But who was the Lady of the Lake, and what other secrets lie beneath her watery grave? Welcome to my channel. Today we're exploring 5 mysteries of the Lady of the Lake. Number 5. She gave Excalibur to Arthur. Most people know the story of King Arthur, if not by name, then by the many movies and series based on his adventures. Arthur, a legendary British king, was said to have ruled during the 5th or 6th century AD, though historians debate whether he truly existed. What is certain is that his legend captured the hearts and minds of those around him, with tales of his chivalry and courage being recorded by monks and bards alike. As centuries passed, stories of King Arthur's knights and wizard mentors grew ever more fantastical. These tales were compiled into a collection known as The Matter of Britain, which served as an early foundation for what we now call Arthurian legend. Perhaps the most important part of this lore is the mystical sword Excalibur. Passed down through generations, it symbolized the rightful heir to the throne and gave its wielder great strength and power. However, this legendary weapon had a mysterious origin. It was pulled from a stone by the Lady of the Lake and given to Arthur, setting him on his path to unite Britain under his banner. Even after all these years, we're still trying to figure out who the Lady of the Lake was and where she came from. In fact, there are so many theories that we've made an entire series about her. So subscribe and stay tuned if you want to learn more. Number 4. She raised Lancelot in secret. At first glance, Sir Lancelot looks like your typical medieval knight, a brave and noble warrior fighting for the good of all. But don't be fooled by his shining armor. Underneath lies a tragic tale of forbidden love, deceit, and ultimately betrayal. You see, after Arthur became king, he established a fellowship of knights called the Knights of the Round Table. These warriors were bound by a sacred oath to protect the innocent and uphold justice wherever they found it. They were led by the valiant Sir Lancelot, one of the most skilled fighters of his time. But while he was renowned for his bravery in battle, it was his prowess in matters of the heart that truly set him apart. He was a man driven by passion, a quality that often put him at odds with the strict moral code expected of knights. This inner turmoil was only made worse by his forbidden love for Queen Guinevere, Arthur's wife. Though their love burned brightly, it could never be consummated due to the vows Lancelot had taken and the sanctity of Arthur's marriage. As such, their relationship remained a secret, hidden away from prying eyes and ears. But secrets have a way of coming to light. And soon enough, whispers of Lancelot and Guinevere's affair began to spread throughout the kingdom. When Arthur discovered the truth, he was heartbroken. Not only had his best friend betrayed him, but his wife had broken her vows. It seemed as though all hope for a happy ending was lost. However, before we get too caught up in the drama of King Arthur's court, let's take a step back and appreciate the true mystery at hand. How did Sir Lancelot become the legendary knight we know today? Surely, there must be more to his story than meets the eye. Well, that's where the Lady of the Lake comes in. She was said to have found young Lancelot as a babe, adrift in a boat after his parents were killed in battle. Taking pity on the child, she raised him in secret until he was old enough to join Arthur's Knights of the Round Table. But why did she do this? Was it simply an act of mercy, or was there something more to it? And what other secrets might the Lady of the Lake be hiding? 3. She may have been more than one person. The Lady of the Lake is a figure shrouded in mystery, both in Arthurian legend and in our understanding of her origins. That's because there are a few different versions of the tales, and when it comes to deciphering the origins of this enigmatic character, no two sources are exactly alike. In some tellings, she is portrayed as a beautiful fairy who falls in love with Sir Lancelot, while in others, she is depicted as a mysterious sorceress who aids Merlin in his quest to locate the legendary sword Excalibur. But perhaps even more puzzling is the fact that the Lady of the Lake seems to appear and disappear at will, sometimes offering her aid and sometimes remaining aloof and uninterested in the affairs of mortals. Her motives are unclear, and her very nature remains a subject of much debate among scholars and fans of Arthurian legend alike. So, who was the Lady of the Lake really? Was she a powerful fairy, a cunning sorceress, or perhaps something else entirely? As we continue to explore the myths and legends surrounding her, one thing becomes clear. The Lady of the Lake is a character whose depths we may never fully plumb. There are many layers to her story, and it will take many more videos to peel them all back. So make sure to stay tuned if you want to learn more. 2. Some say she trapped Merlin. Merlin, the legendary wizard mentor of King Arthur, is a figure whose wisdom and power have been revered for centuries. Known for his ability to control the elements, communicate with animals, and even influence the future itself, Merlin is often seen as the driving force behind Arthur's rise to power. But despite his many talents and abilities, Merlin is not immune to the pitfalls of love. In fact, it was his romantic entanglements that led to one of the most enduring mysteries of Arthurian legend, his imprisonment beneath a hill by the Lady of the Lake. According to some tellings, Merlin's downfall began when he fell in love with a beautiful woman named Nimue. However, their romance was doomed from the start, as Merlin's endless womanizing had made him many enemies. And when word got out that he was seeing Nimue, she was kidnapped by a rival sorcerer. Desperate to save his beloved, Merlin sought the help of the Lady of the Lake, who agreed to help him rescue Nimue on one condition, that he must remain trapped beneath a nearby hill until he agreed to release her. Unfortunately, Merlin soon found that he was unable to escape his prison, and was forced to spend the rest of his life trapped there with only Nimue for company. But why did the Lady of the Lake make this deal with Merlin in the first place? Was it simply an act of kindness, or was there more to it? And what other secrets might she be hiding? Number 1. She represents the last echo of a forgotten goddess. In the grand tapestry of Celtic mythology, the Lady of the Lake stands out as a truly enigmatic figure, a mysterious sorceress and protector of the sacred otherworld. Often depicted as a beautiful woman clad in green, she rules over the waters of Avalon, an island shrouded in mist and magic. Avalon serves as a refuge for the wounded and dying, as well as a portal to the spiritual realm. But who was this mysterious woman, and what was the significance of her watery domain? The Lady of the Lake is a figure whose origins can be traced back to the ancient Celtic goddess of sovereignty, often called the Dagda. Sovereignty was a deity associated with power, wisdom, and the natural world, particularly the land and its bounty. As such, she was revered by the Celts as a source of fertility, abundance, and protection. However, as Christianity began to spread throughout Europe, the worship of pagan deities like the Dagda was outlawed, and many of their followers were persecuted. In an effort to preserve their culture and traditions, the Celts were forced to hide their beliefs, often adopting new names and symbols to avoid detection. Over time, the goddess of sovereignty became known as the Lady of the Lake, and her worship shifted from the open fields and sacred groves to the murky depths of lochs and rivers. Despite this forced secrecy, the Lady of the Lake retained much of her former power and wisdom. She continued to be seen as a protector of the natural world, as well as a guide and mentor to those seeking her out. And it is this legacy that lives on in the legends of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. The Lady of the Lake is a figure whose presence echoes the ancient Celtic past, a reminder of the enduring power of nature and the wisdom of the forgotten gods. As we continue to explore her story, we must also remember that she represents something much larger than herself, the last echo of a forgotten goddess, the spirit of the old ways whispering to us across the ages. The Lady of the Lake is more than myth. She is a mirror reflecting the magic, power, and mystery lost to time. Who was she really, and what else waits beneath the surface? Let me know your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe for more echoes of the past. Thanks for watching. Bye.